Hello and welcome to another video game story time. Today's episode is going to be called A Costly Mistake. And it's going to be called that for multiple reasons. The first is the actual story that I'm going to be telling. The second is the fact that I used to play Command & Conquer all the fucking time. About 30 years ago. This specific game, Retaliation. It was maybe 28 years ago. I haven't really played Command & Conquer in a long time. Firstly, they don't make them anymore. Secondly, the way my ADHD's gone, I really struggle with real-time strategy games or any kind of game like this where missions can take up to an hour and one little mistake can fuck the whole thing up. But again, that's not really why it's called a costly mistake, but at the same time it kind of is. I completely forgot the actual countries that you can get to players in this game as well. But yeah, I'm going to just start a basic skirmish, and I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me. I know fine well I am. But when we used to play this game, it was always around my friends. We would have sleepovers, we would have LAN cables set up, and we'd have the four of us actually sitting and playing the game. And usually, we'd have on-the-fly alliances that one person was kind of infamous because every single fucking time, he would always be the one betraying everyone. So he'd garnered this reputation of constantly being a betrayer to the point of that I finally managed to fucking one-up him. It was me, him, his brother, and one of his friends who we knew was playing with his brother, and it was us two versus them two, and we finally got to the point where we were actually working together as a team, and we'd wiped out one of them, and we were about to wipe out his brother, and I knew it was coming because he always did it. He'd always set it up and be in the middle of an actual offensive maneuver, making you think that he wasn't going to betray you, and then he'd break the alliance and he'd have had a couple of tanks stashed away. Well, this time, I actually was set up so that he couldn't see my screen or anything, and I had a unit that I kept keeping an eye on, going over all parts of the map, making sure that he hadn't hidden any units anywhere, all the while that I was building mammoth tank after mammoth tank after mammoth tank after mammoth tank, and it's one of those that I still can't believe I actually managed to do this one day, because he'd actually complained, why don't we have that many mammoth tanks here? Like, you've been building them non-stop, so where the fuck are they all? And it's like, dude, didn't you see the first wave of attack? Remember when I was actually saying, I need help over here? Now, again, two of us in one room, two of us in the other room. My acting skills were amazing, it turns out. I didn't need help. Nothing had been wiped out. I'd just intentionally only sent a couple of mammoth tanks. And then he started to send his units. Meanwhile, all of my mammoth tanks were sitting hiding in his base. And he broke the truce, just like I knew he would. Just like he always does. Every single time, we would finally got to the point where he was breaking it, and he broke the truce. And his army absolutely annihilated my army. And he's like, why didn't you lose? And it's like, that's not all my units, dude. Just like, I'm not giving up because you haven't killed all my units. You may have destroyed a lot of my things, but you only destroyed one of my bases. One of your bases? Yeah, you do this all the time. You fuck everyone over. You're kind of a snake that way. So, I was prepared for you this time. I built another base over there. And remember when you were complaining about all those mammoth tanks? And suddenly, it dawned on him. And he very, very quickly scrolled over, and there was about 60 mammoth tanks sitting right outside his base. And I'd done the monologue, because I knew he wasn't going to get back in time. I knew how this game worked. I knew how destructive my army was. I knew that I was going to absolutely wipe everything out. So I waited until he'd actually looked at his base, and it's like, so remember when you just broke that alliance? I'm going to go send all of these in now. By the time his units got back, I'd destroyed every last single structure he'd built. I'd destroyed every last unit he'd kept at the base, which was only a couple of fucking Tanyas if memory serves. And all of his army basically came into the ruins of his base, which his army was about the same size as mine, but his army had just been through 3 fights. His army was very, very weakened, and it was so funny because it was essentially a case of the faster units moved in and immediately got wiped out. And then the secondary units got wiped out, and all the time he was realising this, he was starting to run away, and it's like, dude, you can run, but there's literally no way you're going to win this. I finally beat you at your own fucking game. Now, if you want to actually start again and ally and not be a piece of shit, and will win this game co-op, I'm quite happy to do that. But it's the fact that you refuse to win co-op, you only ever want to win solo, and everyone's sick of teaming with you. it was one of those really nice cathartic moments where I'd finally got one over on them, and like when they came into the room as well, they'd actually came in after they'd been wiped out, so they were like seeing all of this unfold as well, and they were just like, I can't believe you finally fucking got him. And it's like, yeah, he's been doing this for so long, it felt due, and yeah, this is the way that I'm going to start playing this. So you can either play fair, or we'll just stop doing any form of alliances, and I'll ally with them too, and all three of us will wipe you out every time. To which they also agreed, and it's like, yeah, you know what, that's actually a really good idea. We'll just, all three of us will just wipe you out if you're going to be this asshole. And yeah, it was one of those kids being kids moments with video games, and I sometimes miss it. And I'm actually kind of shocked as to how good the PlayStation version of this game kind of holds up. Because when I finally played Command & Conquer on the PC, I was like, wow, we used to play this shit. And now I'm like, you know what? This is actually still a pretty decent way to play this game. For a console RTS, it's not that bad. But yeah, short video, yeah. Until next time, I'm going to say, if you've got any stories like this of LAN parties, of spending nights playing games around friends, and you're having these epic multiplayer matches or anything, then feel free to post it in the comments. When my social anxiety eventually lets me, I'll no doubt check them, but at the moment, you know, I've uploaded maybe 50 videos at this point, and I've checked the comments twice. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Unless you have a cure for social anxiety, not that I'll ever see the cure, because I can't then check the comments, but you know what I mean. If there's anything you want to post, any stories, then feel free to do it at the bottom, in the comments, because that is, again, why I want to actually make these video game story times. It's so that people can share the things that they've kind of got nowhere else to share them, because there's a lot of neurodivergents out there, a lot of us, and a lot of us have stories like this that no one else tends to be really fucking interested in, so I wanted to make this the niche of my channel. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to say I've been Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, bye!